Something quite odd with the lights on the top of Craigowl Hill, which is the part of the Sidlaws Hills on the north boundary of the city of Dundee in Scotland. That mast there is the TV transmitter, Grampian one. I know about that one. The mast on the top of Craigowl, there's the tallest mast, which is the most eastmost mast. Now at this point when standing, it's only visible with one light. But when I just walk a few metres, not even that, hardly anything, right, just simply walking over a few steps, the light at the top becomes visible. So I'm trying to, I can see it with my naked eye now. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up, but I had the binoculars out earlier. Small hours by the way, so it's a nice clear sky and it's a peaceful road. So we've got peace to do this. The light at the top is now visible. I don't know how well it's coming out on here. Not very well, unfortunately. It's just becoming a bit out of focused. I'm trying to get it in focus. It's coming out not too good, but the point is, in walking just only not far at all, really, only from there to where I'm at now, and now it's gone back to the top light being invisible. So you've got, so forget about that mast, it's this one here I'm talking about. That mast there is the one that's in question. So from where I'm standing now, I can only see one light. Although I had the binoculars out, I was able to see the top light very faintly. I can in fact see it very faintly with my naked eye, but with the binoculars I was able to see it clearer. Now it's navigational lights. The hill is roughly about 5 miles away. The summit's something like 450 metres, 455 metres or something above sea level. It's the top of Craigowl Hill. The bit that's puzzling me is why that light is only visible at certain points and not at others. Like at this point, the bottom light is visible constantly. It's just the top light that seems to be the one that goes out of view and back into to being visible again. Now it's visible, and I've only walked from that middle traffic island to where I am now, and it's visible. So I'm trying to show it on the camera. It's not very clear, but I can assure you I can see it visible. I'm trying my best to show you that the top light is now visible. So if I walk further up again, it goes out of view. I'm only just walking just a few metres. And it's beginning to go out of view again. So it's out of view again. It's not very clear, but I'm doing my best. So, like I say, I'm starting to walk back down this way again. Just a few metres. Now it's visible again. So when I had the binoculars out, the light was very faint. When it kind of goes invisible, or practically invisible, it is in fact very faint when you zoom in with the binoculars. Now it's gone nearly invisible. It's just the bottom light that's shown that I've clearly seen. When I say bottom light, I'm only using that as a reference from where I'm standing. There is actually more lights on the mast. Well, actually, no, tell a lie, there isn't. I think there's only the two, if I come to think of it. Yeah, there is only the two, so it is the bottom light. Yeah, because I was thinking of there may have been some further down, but that's really besides the point anyway. It's totally, really doesn't really matter, because it's the top light I'm concerned with, and there is only a mast light halfway down and a light at the top, you know, for navigational lights, because it's a high point. It's the highest mast on Craigowl. So as you can see, and just try to show you how far. So I'm not walking far at all. I was only from up there to here. It's now clearly visible again. As it kind of goes further I move down, when this start moving, it becomes fainter and fainter, then it becomes really faint, practically invisible. And now I did put the binoculars on. It's now become so faint it's barely visible with the naked eye, but I did put the binoculars onto that and I was able to see it still, but very faintly. So it is a lovely midnight sky, by the way. Well, it's 1 o'clock in the morning actually, so, but I like the colours. And it's quite nice to be able to do it at this time of night without any disturbance. I've noticed this anomaly a couple of years ago. I went up to the mast, couldn't see anything obvious why it would be doing that. There's nothing really that stands between the viewpoint to where I am and it. So it's beginning to become visible again. Not coming out very clearly on here, unfortunately, but you might just saw it there. And as I say, that's all within walking distance, just a few metres, a few yards. So it kind of fades out to become invisible, then it becomes visible, then it does it again and again. So I've looked at this mast from different viewpoints. Sometimes it appears a constant 2 lights from certain points in Dundee, viewed from certain points it remains 2. It's only just seems to be in this kind of area. I logged it in, it was a wee bit further along Ancram Road as well. Now it's clearly 2 lights. Now the structure of the mast is like that, similar to the piling. And I don't even see that, but you'll know I think you'll have a fair idea what the piling structure is like. Well, it's similar to that. I couldn't have imagined it being the actual structure that's blocking off the light. Although when I put the binoculars onto it, it did seem very faint, like there was something obstructing it. I couldn't have imagined it being that, but I don't know. So from where I'm at now, it's clearly visible with my naked eye. Trying to show it on the camera. Not so clear on here at the moment, annoyingly. Trying to get it to... It might have been a bit clearer there for you. So, I'm logging this in anyway. I think it's something like the 7th of June 2020, well, 7th, it's actually technically the 8th of June 2023, because it's after midnight, it's 1:05 in the morning. So it is really the 8th of June 2023. I logged this in, I've noticed this before in the summer of 2021. I've been up to the mast, I've been up the hill, been up the mast, looked at it, couldn't really see anything obvious why it would do that. It's navigational light, so I don't see why it would want to be obstructed with the structure of the mast. So, as I say, I used the binoculars on it. It doesn't become completely invisible, it just becomes very faint. So I don't know why that would be. I mean, as I say, it's about 5.5 miles away. I would say as the crow flies, it must be about 5.5 miles away. This is from the viewpoint of the Minas Hill at the top of Arn Drive for those that know Dundee. So I'm just logging that in anyway. The Craigowl mast light anomaly. Regarding the mast, I was up here a few months ago checking this mast over that anomaly. Nothing appears to be any different from the last time I logged it in. So I'm still in the mast as to why that's happening. There was one instance where the anomaly kind of altered. The two lights were visible all the time. went back to doing the usual, becoming invisible, just a few steps, and then becoming visible again. So I don't know what's going on, but there doesn't seem to be any changes to it from the last time I had to log this in and came up to check, or to investigate to see what was going on, if there was anything obvious. I can't see anything obvious. And it's the navigation lights, and there's one at the top, and there's one slightly further down. What's the top one? It seems to vary in and out. The navigation lights, you would think that wouldn't happen. It should be visible at all angles, at all viewed from all areas. This is another point. Another thing, by the way, about this mast light anomaly. Just a few months ago, I was able to see this mast light. Obviously it was earlier on in the evening because it was nearer, between winter and summer. The anomaly didn't happen. It remained two lights, because I drive home late every night from work, and I pass this route, and I look over, I glance in and notice it, and one time it didn't do it. It remained two lights all the time, and then it started, I think it was the following day or a couple of days later, it started doing it again. So initially there was nothing unusual about it. Although there's another story to that, but I won't go into it in this video. But before this anomaly didn't happen, then it happens for quite a while, for the best part of nearly 2 years. And then for a few days, I think, at least a day anyway, maybe one or two anyway, it didn't do it. It remained two lights constantly, on the same stretch of route that I drive past, looking over there. Just noticing over there now and again. So I stopped, obviously, got out and had a proper look, and it was right enough. It didn't happen. It remained two lights. And now it's, shortly after that, it just went back to doing its anomaly again. And like I said, I went up there, I looked at it. I looked at it before anyway. And even the first time I went up and had a look, nothing obvious that would cause that. And the piling there, it's got a similar structure to that piling. So I couldn't imagine the structure doing that. I mean, it's navigational light. Surely it wouldn't interfere with the visibility of a navigational light. So I find it odd anyway. Just thought I'd add that in. I forgot to mention for this video.